जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवराधारी जय गिरिवराधारी जय यशोधनन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय यशोधनन्दन जय व्रजजनरञ्जन जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा निता गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण हरि हरि बोल ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं चैतन्य जगदीश्वरं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवृन्द स्वामिने ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our weekly study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a Amala Purana. As stated in the 12th canto, there's a beautiful verse which describes the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsayam Ekam Amalam Gnanam Param Giyate Tatra Gnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tat Shrunvatam Sufatan Vicharano Paro Bhaktya Vimuche Naraha, which means, Prabhu, am I audible? Prabhu, my voice is clear?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. We are
Prabhu, it is clear.
Okay, thank you. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. Amala Purana means spotless Purana. So it is most dear to Vaishnavas. Why? Because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. And this Bhagavatam, it's a way, it's a means for us to becoming free from all material work, and also it teaches the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, devotion. Anyone who tries to understand this Srimad Bhagavatam very seriously, and he hears this Srimad Bhagavatam and chants it with devotion, he becomes completely liberated. This is a conversation between Suta Goswami and sages of Naimisharanya, which is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto. Such is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. Also, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of our Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, he always says, he says, let all the literatures on this world be destroyed. But if Srimad Bhagavatam is there, then there is no loss. Because Srimad Bhagavatam contains everything a soul should know. Like as we know, the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with 10 subject matter, which stated, we already learned this. It says, Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthananam Poshanam Utayaha Manvantara Ishanukata Nirodo Muktir Ashrayaha. There are, like how in Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics are described, whereas in Srimad Bhagavatam, the subject matters discussed are 10, which is starting with Sarga. Sarga means creation, Visarga means sub-creation. Okay, so I'll ask you all, okay. Sarga, Visarga, Sthananam. Can somebody tell what is Sthananam? Prabhus and Matajis? Sthananam means planetary position.
Okay.
Sthananam poshanam. Poshanam you all know.
Portion means to leave.
Poshan means like it's a protection. Yeah, so Lord is protecting us. Sthananam poshanam utayaha. Utayaha means creative impetus. Then Sthananam poshanam manvantara. Manvantara means change of Manu. Ishanukata. Ishanukata means signs of Godhead. Nirodho. Nirodho means going back home, back to Godhead. Muktir. Mukti means you all know. That is liberation. Then Ashraya is Sammam Bonam. These are the 10 subject matters discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you know all this, then you know everything. There is nothing you will miss it. So this is a transcendental knowledge. So that's how His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says, if Srimad Bhagavatam is there, if one is become proficient in Srimad Bhagavatam, so he don't miss out anything. So he knows everything. So with that, we'll start our today's class. Now we're in the second canto, chapter 2. So far we have this chapter entitled The Lord in the Heart. So far we have discussed, like Sutta Goswami, he what he does in first few verses, he condemns karma kanda. Okay, so karma kanda, what happens? It only binds you. So he says he recommends all of us to reject karma kanda. So only those who are less intelligent, who are materially motivated, they will reject bhakti and choose karma kanda. So then also further we have discussed, he talks about the description of the super soul. Super soul, he uses one particular word which is called as dharana shraya. Dharana shraya means it's like taking shelter. Dharana shraya. So, and this dharana shraya is different for different people. Can somebody remember what we have discussed in the last class? What you all discussed in the last class? So Dharanashraya for advanced detached yogi is what?
Initially, the few verses described how to meditate on the God. That is what to see, how to understand, and then it say like 2 to 11 described the decorated the how the Lord is decorated and how how the meditation should be done, and then we came to that cave. Suppose you are not able to meditate on if you are not fit for the proper archana and all that, you have to concentrate on the Virat Rupa. That was one portion, and finally there were one. If you reach the Labdo Pashyanti stage, that is you are merging with the spiritual world. That is the ideal stage, and where you can see God everywhere and every place.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, there are two kinds of yogis we have seen. One who is advanced yogi and who is renounced. He focuses on Paramatma, right? At the same time, a yogi who has got some attachment, he thinks about Virat Rupa, right? So this we have discussed, then further going forward, as Prabhu said, labdo pashanti. So then, one who comes merging with one's mind, intelligence, and, then he try to focus on the Lord. So then he is satisfied with the stage of cessational material life. Then that time, there is no influence of time, demigods, modes, false ego, material nature. Then, in the next verse, we talked about Brahman realization. Then, the yogi, he realizes Brahman realization. That is, Vaishnavam Padam, by avoiding godless things and embracing the Lord Lotus feet at every moment. So those who are in the stage of Brahman realization, they are always hanging around Lord's lotus feet. They always take shelter of the lotus feet. Then in the verse number, I think 19 to 21, it talks about Shet Chakra Yoga and liberation. So, there it's wonderfully talked about. There are 6 kinds of chakra. One is Mooladhara Chakra, then Swadhisthana Chakra, Manipuraka Chakra, and Anahata Chakra, and Vishuddhi Chakra, and finally Agna Chakra. So then by controlling all with this process, what he does, he raises his life air to the upper position. Starting from the navel portion, slowly he brings to the chest level, the stomach, then chest, then finally he moves up to the forehead. So this is what has been discussed so far. So
No,
we'll
Prabhu,
start.
this is to be discussed today. 19, which are, I think you're talking is, that is,
Okay, so my verse is from 19, is it?
yeah.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, correct. You're right. Yeah. So yeah, now we'll talk about from 19th. Yeah. So in the last 18th verse, we talked about how yogi realizes Brahman, and then he sees everything in relation to the Lord. So we'll start 19. So who will share the screen?
I'm doing Prabhu.
Prabhu, you will share.
You are able to see Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's loading. Not yet come, but it's coming. Yeah. Verse number 19. Ittam munistu paramed vyavastito vignana virya suranditashayah swaprashni na napidya gudam tato nilam staneshu satsu manyeti manye jita klamaha. Can somebody read translation and proper?
By the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air holes through which stool is evacuated with the heel of one's foot and by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places. There are many Duratmas who claim to have realized themselves as Brahman and yet are unable to conquer material desires. In Bhagavad Gita 8.15, it is clearly explained that an absolutely self-realized soul becomes completely aloof from all material desires. Material desires are based on the false ego of the living being and are exhibited by his childish and useless activities to conquer the laws of material nature, and by his desire to lord it over the resources of the 5 elements. With such a mentality, one is led to believe in the strength of material science, with its discovery of atomic energy and space travel by mechanical vehicles. And by such tiny advancements in material science, the false egoist tries to challenge even the strength of the Supreme Lord, who can finish all man's tiny endeavors in less than a second. A well-situated self or a Brahman realized soul perfectly understands that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of the Godhead is all-powerful, Vasudev, and that Vasudev, and that he, the self-realized living being, is a part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. As such, his constitutional position is to cooperate with him in all respects in the transcendental relation of the served and the servitor. Such a self-realized soul ceases to exhibit its useless activities of attempting to lord it over the material nature. Being scientifically well informed, he fully engages himself in faithful devotion to the Lord. The expert yogi who has thoroughly practiced the control of the life air by the prescribed method of the yoga system is advised to quit the body as follows. He should plug up the evacuating hole with the heel of the foot and then progressively move the life air on and on to 6 places: the navel, abdomen, heart, chest, palate, eyebrows, and cerebral pit. Controlling the life air by the prescribed yogic process is mechanical, and the practice is more or less a physical endeavor for spiritual perfection. In olden days, such practice was very common for the transcendentalists, for the mode of the life and character in those days were favorable. But in modern days, when the influence of Kali age is so disturbing, practically everyone is untrained in this art of bodily exercise. Concentration of the mind is more easily attained in these days by the chanting of holy name of the Lord. The results are more effective and then those derived from the inner exercise of the life air. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So such a wonderful purport. So in this verse, it talks about by the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole with the heel, with the through which the stool is evacuated, with the heel of one's foot, and by lifting the air from one place to another in the 6 primary places. So this is the process, and this is also elaborately discussed in the chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord, he explains how a yogi should conduct. He gives so many things, so many instructions the Lord gives in the 6th chapter, where he says one should go to the secluded place and he should sit in a place which is not too high and which is not too low, and the surroundings should be conducive for practicing yoga. And there is so many rules and regulation, the situations the Lord explains for the conducive practice of dhyana yoga. So here Prabhupada, straight away he starts with, there are some duratmas, they claims they are realized Brahman. So but they are unable to conquer their material desires. How is that possible? One who has realized the Brahman, then he doesn't have any material desires. Of course, he do have a spiritual desire, which is to serve the Lord eternally. That will be the only his desire, but nothing of material desire. And also we, from the Hitopanishad, we know the definitions of what is Duratma. So there are 2 kinds of people. One is Mahatma and Duratma. So Mahatma is, in Hitopanishad, it is explained as Mana Eka Vacha Eka Karma Eka Iti Mahatmanaha. So Mahatma is the one, Mana Eka. What is there in his mind, he talks the same, and he does the same work. All the Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, or everything is streamlined. So he is defined as Mahatma. Whereas Duratma is one thing in the mind, one thing in the speech, and other thing in the deeds. He is called as Duratma. It's in Mahatma case, everything is synchronized. He has got only one thought process, but Duratma, like I'll be talking to you very nicely in front of you, but on the back of my mind, I'm thinking ill of you. So, and also I do work which is which either I try to harm you or something unfavorable to you. So that kind of person is Duratma. Whereas Mahatma is, he doesn't have anything. Even if he doesn't like a person, but everything is, he is very clear. Mana eka, vacha eka, karma eka. So that's the one quick, I thought I will explain. And also in Prabhupada quotes from 1854, that's a beautiful verse, which says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shoshati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. It says, one who is transcendentally situated, he realizes the Supreme Brahman and he becomes very joyful. He never laments or desires anything. He is equally disposed towards all the living entities. In that state, he attains the pure devotional service. So this is a stage of Mahatma. So he is always situated in Brahma Bhuta situation. 1 second, pros. Yeah, sorry. So then going forward, see, now we are the so-called scientists, we are very proud of our material advancement, right? But the Lord, here Prabhupada writes, he says, with the discovery of atomic energy and space travel by mechanical vehicle and by such tiny advancement in material science, the false egoist tries to challenge even the strength of Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So, we think, there is a modern society, especially scientist community, they don't, they deny the existence of the God. They don't believe in the God presence. They think everything is the science. So we happened to meet one person who was working for Baba Atomic Research Center, and he was in a general manager position. Now he got retired. So we met him. Then there's a question asked him, why you scientist community deny the God? And of course, while he was working, he would never talk in favor of the spiritualism, right? He was just he was always like any other scientist. He would talk, he denied the Lord existence, all those things. But as soon as he retired, he's a good devotee. He's a we can say he's very good devotee. Then the question was posed to him, while you are in the service, you never talk favorably about the Supreme Lord and the spiritualism. So why you do that? So he told one simple thing, where he said, if the scientists they believe the God, then they don't get any impetus to do any research. They think, oh, everything happens by the will of the Lord. So what is there for us to do any work? So in order to deviate that, deny that, so they will say they will deny the existence of the God, and they will try to do some research. So at the end of the day, it may be useful or it may not be useful. We don't know. Okay. And also, like Prabhupada here writes, the Lord can finish all man's tiny endeavors in less than a second. We all knew, right? In 2019, when the COVID pandemic broke out, so everything came standstill. All the flights were cancelled, right? And there was no movement of the people, which nobody would even dreamt also, right? This will be going to happen, right? So, economically also, in one single day, there were, I think, there were $26 billion, business were lost because of all this cancellation of flights and so many business. So the Lord can do in anything in a very small second, in a less than a second. But scientists, they don't believe this. So this is one point, Prabhupada writes here. Then, and the last paragraph, he talks, The expert yogi who has thoroughly practiced the control of life air by prescribed method of yoga system is he will quit the body. First, he will close the of course here it is talking about 7 holes, but in from Bhagavad Gita and also in Srimad Bhagavatam elsewhere it is stated Navadvara. We have got a human body has got 9 holes. That is 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, then 1 mouth, 7, then the anal and the genital. So these are the 6 holes. And here, since he is talking in this place, he is talking about blocking 7 holes. We should block the lower portion. Then gradually he brings the live air to the 6 places, namely navel, abdomen, heart, chest, and finally through the eyebrows. And from the eyebrows, it goes through the cerebral pit, and from there he quits his body. That's how the perfect yogis do it. It's called as Brahmarandra, that is cerebral pit, and it's located on the head. Like that is the only portion is very, very soft. Especially you can witness in the child. If you touch this portion, it is very, very soft. So yogi, what he does, he brings this life air, and finally through that Brahmarandra, he quits his body. So that is what has been discussed in this verse. We'll go to the next verse, Prabhu. नाभ्यं स्थितं हृदि अधिरोप्य तस्मात् उदानगत्योरसितां नयेन्मुनिः ततो अनुसन्धाय दीया मनस्वी स्वतालुमूलं सनकैर्नयेत्.
Translation. I think. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, from there to the chest, and from there to the root of the palate. He should search out the proper place with intelligence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are 6 circles of the movement of the life air, and the intelligent bhakti yogi should search out these places with intelligence and in a meditative mood. Among these mentioned above is the Swadhisthana Chakra, or the powerhouse of the life air. And above this, just below the abdomen and navel, is the main Pukaraka Chakra, which when upper space is further searched out in the heart, one reaches the Ananta Chakra, and further up, when the life air is placed at the root of the palate, one searches the Vishuddhi Chakra. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So there are 6 circles, what it is mentioned here. Like from the lower portion, that is near the anus, it is called as Muladhara Chakra. It is located. Then in the navel, so in the navel level, there are 3 chakras located, which is Swadhisthana Chakra, Manipuraka Chakra. There are 2 chakras located. And in the heart location, there is a chakra which is called as Anahata Chakra. And in the throat, Vishuddhi Chakra. And finally, the eyebrows, it is Agna Chakra. Okay, so this is what has been discussed. And finally, at the top of the, when he reaches, he goes to the Vishuddhi Chakra, which is Brahmarandra. So this is how he gradually brings his life air from the Swadhisthana Chakra, and finally he moves up to the Brahmarandra, or Vishuddhi Chakra. So that's what has been discussed here. Then we'll move on to the next verse. Next verse, Prabhu. Tasmad Bruvorantaram Unnayeta Niruddha Saptayano Anapekshaham Stitva Mahortardam Akunta Drishyaye Nirbhidya Murdam Visrajet Param Gataha.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Thereafter, the Bhakti Yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows and then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air. He should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme. Purport. The process of giving up all material connections and returning home, back to Godhead, the Supreme, is recommended herein. The condition is that one should be completely freed from desire for material enjoyment. There are different grades of material enjoyment in respect to the duration of life and sensual gratification. The highest plane of sensual enjoyment for the longest period of life is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.20. All are but material enjoyments, and one should be thoroughly convinced that he has no need of such long duration of life, even in the Brahmaloka planet. He must return home, back to Godhead, and must not be attracted by any amount of material facilities. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is said that this sort of material detachment is possible to attain when one is acquainted with the supreme association of life. Param Društva Nivartate. One cannot be freed from material attraction unless he has complete understanding of the nature of spiritual life. The propaganda by a certain class of impersonalists that spiritual life is void of all varieties is dangerous propaganda to mislead the living beings into becoming more and more attracted by material enjoyments. As such, persons with a poor fund of knowledge cannot have any conception of the Param, the Supreme. They try to stick to the varieties of material enjoyments, although they may flatter themselves as being Brahman realized souls. Such less intelligent persons cannot have any conception of the Param, as mentioned in this verse, and therefore they cannot reach the Supreme. The devotees have full knowledge of the spiritual world. The personality of Godhead and its transcendental association is unlimited spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Lokas. Herein, Akunta Drushti is mentioned. Akunta and Vaikuntha convey the same import, and only one who has aim fixed upon the spiritual world and personal association with the Godhead can give up his material connections even while living in the material world. This Param and the Param Dhama mentioned in several places in the Bhagavad Gita are one and the same thing. One who gets to the Param Dhama does not return to the material world. This freedom is not possible even by reaching the topmost loka of the material world. The life air passes through 7 openings, namely 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. Generally, it passes through the mouth at the time of an ordinary man's death. But the yogi, as above mentioned, who controls the life air in his own way, generally releases the life air by puncturing the cerebral hole in the head. The yogi therefore blocks up all the above mentioned 7 openings so that the life air will naturally burst forth through the cerebral hole. This is the sure sign of great devotees leaving the material connection. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So here it's explained in this verse how a yogi should cultivate his practices. Okay, Bhakti yogi should push his life air up between the eyebrows, then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, and he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all material desires, he can reach it, and he can reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connection. So this is a sign a person is completely detached. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions about Bhagavad Gita 9.20, where it says, Trai Vidya Mam Somapaha. In that verse, Prabhupada, in that verse, it is stated that the people study Vedas and they drink Soma juice seeking the heavenly planets and worship the Lord indirectly, and purified of the sinful reactions. They take birth on the pious heavenly planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. In the next verse, it also talks about Tetom Bhuktva Swargalokam. So after once they finish their pious activity, what they do again, they'll come back to the lower, the earthly planet. Gatha Gatha Kama Kaman Labante. Just analogy can be drawn, like some people who are living here, we go for summer holidays, maybe other destinations, may it be Europe or America or even to India. So once our leave balance completes and our the bank balance depletes, then we have to come back here. So there's the my analogy, material analogy. So like that, this yogis also do. Those who are materially interested people, materialistic people. Of course, the religious people, not fully materialistic. They are the devotees, but they have a material desires. So they take up to this process of Traividya Mam Somapaha. And whereas the detached person, what he do? He follows the above cycles, which we had discussed in the two previous verses. And finally, he will rises his life air to the cerebral hole, that is called as Brahmarandra. Through that, he quits his body. So that is what is discussed in this. Now we'll move on to the verse number 22nd. Yadi prayasan rupa paramestyam vaihayashantam vaihyasayasanam uta yadviharam astadipatyam gunasannivaye sahaiva gachan manasendriyescha.
However, O king, if a yogi maintains the desire for improved material enjoyments like transference of the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with the Vayayanas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses. In the upper status of the planetary systems, there are facilities thousands and thousands of times greater for material enjoyments than in the lower planetary systems. The topmost planetary system consists of planets like Brahmalok and Dhruvalok, the pole star, and all of them are situated beyond Maharlok. The inhabitants of those planets, are empowered with eightfold achievements of mystic perfection. They do not have to learn and practice the mystic processes of yoga perfection and achieve the power of becoming small like a particle, anima siddhi, or lighter than a soft feather, lagima siddhi. They do not have to get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere, that is prapti siddhi, to become heavier than the heaviest, mahima siddhi, to act freely, even to create something wonderful, or to annihilate anything at will, istivya siddhi, to control all material elements, vastiva siddhi, and to possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire, prakmya siddhi, or to assume any shape in or form. One may even philosophically desire Kama Vyasatya Siddhi. All these expediencies are as common as natural gifts for the inhabitants of those higher planets. They do not require any mechanical help to travel in the outer space, and they can move and travel at will from the one planet to any other planet within no time. The inhabitants of the earth cannot move even to the nearest planet except by mechanical vehicles like spacecraft. But the highly talented inhabitants of such higher planets can do everything very easily. Since a materialist is generally inquisitive to experience what is actually in such planetary systems. He wants to see everything personally. And inquisitive persons tour all over the world to gain direct local experience, or the less intelligent transcendentalist similarly desires to have some experience of those planets about which he has heard so many wonderful things. The yogi can, however, easily fulfill his desire by doing there with a present materialistic mind and senses. The prime inclination of the materialistic mind is to lord it over the material world, and all the siddhis mentioned above are features of domination over the world. The devotees of the Lord are not ambitious to dominate a false and temporary phenomenon. On the contrary, a devotee wants to be dominated by the supreme predominator, the Lord. The desire to serve the Lord, the supreme predominator, is spiritual or transcendental, and one has to attain this purification of the mind and the senses to get admission into the spiritual kingdom. With the materialistic mind, one can reach the best planet in the universe, but no one can enter into the kingdom of the God. Senses are called spiritually purified when they are not involved in any sense gratification. Senses require engagements, and when the senses are engaged totally in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they have no chance to become contaminated by material infections. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. So in this verse, how an yogi makes his advancement. So again, he is an attached yogi, and he wants to attain higher planetary system. So if a yogi still has desire to enjoy the Brahmaloka, that is Paramastam. The verse it's used in this verse is called as Paramastam, and he wants to travel in outer space or to enjoy mystic powers, Asta Siddhi. Then by Virat Rupa meditation, he will give up all his material body and he will travel higher planets in the subtle body. So this is called as Krama Mukti. So once if he, these peoples, these yogis, they attain this Ashta Siddhis, means Anima, Lagima, Ishitva, all these things. So they can do wonders actually. For example, even Srila Prabhupada also mentioned, Prabhupada mentions, two stories. One, he talks about a person, he leaves his home and he will go to Himalayas and he will do 25 years of tapasya, and he returns back and he has acquired the siddhi of Lagima. Lagima means he can become lighter than the lightest. Then, so this person, away from the home, then after 25 years, he is returning back home. So all the villagers, they are excited, they said, okay, you are away from us for 25 years, what you have learned. Then he says, yeah, I have attained this Lagima Siddhi. So then, they will arrange. So he's going to exhibit his Lagima Siddhi. So there was a river, in that village. So what he does, he's try to walk on that river. So this is the Siddhi he has acquired. And immediately when he start walking on the river and he comes back, then the intelligent person of the village, like that the panchayat head, he says, my dear son, you have wasted your 25 years. He says, why? You have acquired this siddhi of becoming lighter than the lightest, where you can walk on the water. In fact, this is only a, like 25 paisa work, what you have learned. Because those days, to cross that river, they would pay 25, those times it is not 25 paisa, it is 25 annas, 4 annas. So, you have to spend only 4 annas. Instead of that, you have wasted 25 years of your life, which you have done a better thing. So like this Astasiddhis, people will get struck, by getting that. So, and also Prabhupada talks about one more incident. Even while Prabhupada was there used to be one yogi, it seems, in Calcutta, and he would get anything you like, especially like Prabhupada mentions in one of his book, there he says, if you go and ask him, like in Kashmir, they grow wonderful, not Kashmir, in Afghanistan, they grow this wonderful pomegranate. Uh, and like Prabhupada writes in that purpose, like if you go and ask him, immediately he will just he go and get that stuff in fraction of seconds, all this fresh pomegranate from Afghanistan. So these things are possible for the yogis, but the ultimate thing is, and also they don't require any passport or anything to travel to other places. They can go. So this is the Astasiddhi. I mean, this is one of the yoga process they can attain. But ultimate yoga is what? To go back to Godhead. That's what is discussed here. Then we will move on to the next verse number 23. Prabhu, little up. Yeah. Yogaishvaranam gatimahurantar bahistrailokya pavanantar atmanam na karma bistam gatim apnuvanti vidya tapo yoga samadhi bhajam. Yeah, can somebody read? Translation?
Hare Krishna translation. The transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of their devotional service, austerities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the material worlds. The fruity workers or the gross materialist can never move in such an unrestricted manner. Purport. The materialistic scientists' endeavor to reach other planets by mechanical vehicles is only a futile attempt. One can overreach heavenly planets by virtuous activities, but one can never expect to go beyond Svarga or Janaloka by such mechanical or materialistic activities. Laws are subtle. The transcendentalists who have nothing to do with the gross material body can move anywhere within or beyond the material worlds. Within the material worlds, they move in the planetary system of the Mahar, Janas, Tapas, and Satyaloka. And beyond the material worlds, they can move in the Vaikunthas as unrestricted spacemen. Narada Muni is one of the examples of such spacemen, and Durvasa Muni is one of such mystics. By the strength of devotional service, austerities, mystic powers, and transcendental knowledge, everyone can move like Narada Muni or Durvasa Muni. It is said that Durvasa Muni traveled throughout the entirety of material space and part of spiritual space within 1 year only. The speed of the transcendentalists can never be attained by the gross or subtle materialists. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. Again, here, yeah. So the transcendental are concentrated with the spiritual body, and by the strength of devotional service, austerity, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted. They can go any planet, anywhere. So here the example cited is Narad Muni. Narad Muni can go to the any planetary system. Similarly, Durvasa also. We all know the pastime. Someone can who knows the Durvasa and Amrish Muni's Amrish Maharaj pastime.
Prabhu, Amrish Maharaj was fasting, I think, for Ekadashi.
Yeah,
And
correct.
Durvasa Muni came with his pupils there, and he wanted some food and all that. And he was sent for this. He went along with his disciples for taking a bath. But since the time for opening the fast was passing, I think Amrish Maharaj was suggested to have a little water so that the fast can be said to be have broken. But when this news went to Durvasa Muni, he became very angry how the king has taken the water before when we have not eaten. And then he started, I think, subsequently, I think Vishnu Bhagavan has to come and save something of that, which I don't remember now.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhu. Yeah. So he commits Durvasa Muni commits an offense against uh, Amrish Maharaj. So Amrish Maharaj, as you know, Prabhu said, he just took a sip of water just to do his Dwadasha Parana. And he took an offense. Then when we offend a Vaishnava, law, even you can do an offense against Lord. Lord is very tolerable. He tolerates all, whatever we see against him. But if we do something against his devotees, the Lord will not tolerate. Same thing happened here also. When Durvasa offended Amrish Maharaj, immediately the Sudarshan Chakra from the Vishnu, it came out and he started chasing Durvasa Muni. Then Durvasa Muni, he went to Shivaloka. From there, he went to Brahmaloka. Then he went all the places. And finally, he reached Vaikuntha Loka. So there, Vishnu says, "No, I cannot do anything because you have offended my devotee. So if he forgives you, then you're saved. Otherwise, no. Then he has to come back." So Durvasa Muni also, he traveled all over the places without any documents. So and this can happen very quickly. The yogis can have that power of doing that. Then we have few verses for the day. So we'll move to the next verse, Prabhu, 24th. Yeah, 24th is Vaishvanaram Yati Vihayasa Gataha Sushmanaya Brahmapatena Shochisham Vidutakal Kota Hare Udastat Prayati Chakram Rupa Shaishumaram.
Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. O King, when such a mystic passes over the Milky Way by the illuminating Susmana to reach the highest planet, Brahmalok, he goes first to Vaishvanara, the planet of the deity of fire, wherein he becomes completely cleansed of all contaminations, and thereafter he still goes higher to the circle of Shusmara to relate the Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The proper star of the universe and the circle thereof is called the Sismara circle, and therein the local residential planet of the personality of Godhead, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, is situated. Before reaching there, the mystic passes over the Milky Way to reach Brahmalok, and while going there, he first reaches Vaishnavara Lok, where the demigods controls fire. On Vaishnavara Lok, the yogi becomes completely cleansed of all dirty sins acquired while in contact with the material world. The Milky Way in the sky is indicated herein as the way leading to Brahmalok, the highest planet of the universe. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. In this verse, first step, what he does is he goes to the Vaishvanara planet. Vaishvanara planet is the planet where Surya Bhagwan resides. You must have remember in which chapter? Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashrita Pranapana. Okay, in the 15th chapter, Lord talks about this verse. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashrita Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachami Annam Chaturvidam. He says, I digest 4 kinds of food. So because there is a Vaishvanara Agni, in the body of all living entities. So here also the yogi when he wants to transcend, first he goes to the Vaishvanara Loka. Vaishvanara is nothing but Surya Bhagavan. In 4th chapter Bhagavad Gita also we know, no? Imam Vivasvate Yogam. Vivasvan, Vaishvanara, they're all same. So there he goes there and he gets his purification, and this is the first planet he gets while going his journey towards Brahmaloka. So there, okay, so he goes to Vaishvanara Loka, which is the planet of the deity fire. Then what is his status? All his contaminations are cleansed. So we'll move to the verse number 25. Okay. Tad Vishwanabhim Tvativartya Vishnor Aniyasa va Virajenatmanai Naikaham Namaskritam Brahma Vidhan Upaiti Kalpayusho Yad Vibhudar Ramante.
Thus, Shishumara is the pivot for the turning of the complete universe, and it is called in navel of Vishnu Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The yogi alone goes beyond this circle of Shishumara and attains the planet Maharlok, where purified saints like Bhrigu enjoy a duration of the life of 4300000000 solar years. This planet is worshipable even for saints who are transcendently situated.
Yeah. So first he goes to Vaishvanara Loka. From there he moves to Shishumara Loka. Shishumara Loka is considered as the pivot of the turning of the complete universe. I will try to show that in Goloka chart after a few verses. And this Shishumara planet is called as, it's known as, is also called as the navel of Vishnu, that is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. So there he goes and he attains Mahar. Then after that he goes beyond this circle of Shishumara and he attains Maharloka. Then again he purified like Bhrigu Muni, and then he enjoys such a long 4 trillion 3 billion years, so much solar years he enjoy. Then even this planet is worshipable for the saint who are transcendently situated. So that is the status of this. So in the first he went to Vaishvanara Loka, then he's coming to Shishumara Loka, then he comes to the Maharloka. Like we chant Gayatri Mantra, no Prabhu, every day. We say Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha. These are the higher planetary system. A yogi aspires to go. So this is
Prabhu, this is not the life of Brahma also, 4 trillion 300 something, or it is the Brahma is still one more zero.
Yeah, still one more zero, Brahma. Yeah, we comes to the next verse, it talks about Brahma. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move to the verse number 26, Prabhus. Atho anantasya mukhanalena dandahavyananam sanirikshya vishvam niyate siddheshvara yusta disnyam yadvai parardvayam taddu paramestyam. Yeah.
I can read, Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. At the time of the final devastation of the complete universe, the end of the duration of Brahma's life, a flame of fire emanates from the mouth of Ananta, from the bottom of the universe. The yogi sees all the planets of the universe burning to ashes, and thus he leaves for Satyalok by airplanes used by the great purified souls. The duration of life in Satyalok is calculated to be whatever, 15 trillion, 480,
Yeah.
15, okay, yes. Purport. It is indicated herein that the residents of Maharlok, where the purified living entities are demigods, possesses a duration of life calculated to be for whatever this 4 trillion or 4 billion solar years, have airships by which they reach Satyalok, the topmost planet of the universe. In other words, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives us many clues about their planets far, far away from us, which modern planes and spacecrafts cannot reach, even by imaginary speed. The statements of Srimad Bhagavatam are accepted by great acharyas like Siddhara Swami
Sridhar Swami.
Sridhar Swami Ramanujacharya and Vallabhacharya. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically accepted Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Vedic authority, and as such, no sane man can ignore these statements of Srimad Bhagavatam. When it is spoken by the self-realized soul, Srila Sukadev Goswami, who follows in the footsteps of his great father, Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of all Vedic literature. In the creation of the Lord, there are many wonderful things we can see with our own eyes every day and night, but we are unable to reach them equipped by modern materialistic science. We should not, therefore, depend on the fragmentary authority of materialistic science for knowing things beyond the range of scientific pure view. For a common man, both modern science and Vedic wisdom are simply to be accepted because none of the statements either of modern science or of the Vedic literature can be verified by him. The alternative for a common man is to believe either of them or both of them. The Vedic way of understanding, however, is more authentic because it has been accepted by the acharyas, who are not only faithful and learned men, but also liberated souls without any of the flaws of unconditional souls. The modern scientists, however, are conditioned souls liable to so many errors and mistakes. Therefore, the safe side is to accept the authentic version of Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which is accepted unanimously by the great acharyas. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Okay. So from there, the yogi from Mahaloka, he moves up to Brahmaloka. No, Brahmaloka will come in the next. Mahaloka he goes. So here also, the duration of the Brahma's life, he still stay there, and then the annihilation starts. Annihilation, from the bottom, the flame from Ananta starts coming, and he start burning it. Then the yogi, he tries to go above this planetary system. So Prabhupada here, he condemns about modern science. If we put this, puppet in front of modern scientists, they may not agree it. They will come up with their own so many concoctions. So, but Srila Prabhupada, he writes, this is the proven process. So, and of course, these facts we cannot verify with our poor fund of knowledge, right? Because as a conditioned souls, we have four defects. Out of one is we have imperfect knowledge. So, imperfect knowledge means what? Just presume we are sitting in this room. I'm giving a lecture. Immediately, somebody comes and blocks this room. Then there is no light inside. Even I cannot see my own hand, right? Even nighttime, you can test it. Turn off your light, turn out the lights and see your hand. We cannot see that. Similarly, if a person put inside the glass box, and he may be screaming, but the sound is not penetrated, though we are just 1 meter away from them, which does in studios, right? So because we are all imperfect senses, we have our senses has got some capacity. Beyond that, we cannot hear or we cannot see anything. So we cannot verify these facts. It doesn't mean that we cannot accept this fact also, because we should accept this fact, because the great acharyas like Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Veera Raghavacharya, and so many people, and even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted this Srimad Bhagavatam as the pramana. It says Srimad Bhagavatam pramanamamalam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted this science. So we should not doubt about the scripture. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, Bahavo Gnana Tapasa. This process has been experimented by many people and they have attained me, he says. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is writing here. Then we have just 2 more verses. We'll try to clear that. Shloka number 27, Prabhu. Okay. Na yatra shoko na jara na mrityur nartrirna chodvega rute kutaschit yachitto tatodha krupaya dvinam vidham duranta dukkha prabhavanudarshanat. Yeah, translation and purport.
Translation, Hare Krishna. In that planet of Satyaloka, there is neither bereavement nor old age nor death. There is no pain of any kind, and therefore there are no anxieties, save that sometimes, due to consciousness, there is a feeling of compassion for those unaware of the process of devotional service, who are subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. Purport. Foolish men of materialistic temperament do not take advantage of successive authorized knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is authorized and is acquired not by experiment, but by authentic statements of Vedic literatures explained by bona fide authorities. Simply by becoming an academic scholar, one cannot understand the Vedic statements. One has to approach the real authority who has received the Vedic knowledge by disciplic succession. As clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Lord Krishna affirmed that the system of knowledge, as explained in the Bhagavad Gita, as explained to the sun god, and the knowledge descended by disciplic succession from the sun god to his son Manu, and from Manu to King Ikshvaku, and therefore of Lord Ramachandra. And thus the system of knowledge was explained down the line of great sages, one after another. But in the due course of time, the authorized succession was broken, and therefore, just to re-establish the true spirit of the knowledge, the Lord again explained the same knowledge to Arjuna, who was a bona fide candidate for understanding due to his being a pure devotee of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, as it was understood by Arjuna, is also explained in Bhagavad Gita 10.12 and 13. But there are many foolish men who do not follow in the footsteps of Arjuna in understanding the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. They create instead their own interpretations, which are as foolish as they themselves, and thereby only help to put a stumbling block on the path of real understanding, misdirecting the innocent followers who are less intelligent or the Sudras. It is said that one should become Brahmana before one can understand the Vedic statements, and the structure is as important as the structure that no one shall become a lawyer who has not qualified himself as a graduate. Such a structure is not an impediment in the path of the progress for anyone and everyone, but it is necessary for an unqualified understanding of a particular science. Vedic knowledge is misinterpreted by those who are not qualified Brahmanas. A qualified Brahmana is one who has undergone strict training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The Vedic wisdom guides us to understanding our relation with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and to acting accordingly in order to achieve the desired results of returning home, back to Godhead. But materialistic men do not understand this. They want to make a plan to become happy in a place where there is no happiness. For false happiness, they try to reach other planets, either by Vedic rituals or by spacecraft. but they should know for certain that any amount of materialistic adjustment for becoming happy in a place which is meant for distress cannot benefit the misguided man, because after all, the whole universe with all its paraphernalia will come to an end after a certain period. Then all plans of materialistic happiness will automatically come to an end. The intelligent person therefore makes a plan to return home back to Godhead. Such an intelligent person surpasses all the pangs of material existence like birth, death, disease, and old age. He is actually happy because he has no anxieties of material existence. But as a compassionate sympathizer, he feels unhappiness for the suffering materialistic men, and thus he occasionally comes before the materialistic men to teach them the necessity of going back to Godhead. All the bona fide acharyas preach this truth of returning home back to Godhead and warn men not to make a false plan for happiness in a place where happiness is only a myth. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here further, it's explained in planet Satyaloka, there is neither bereavement nor old age nor death. There is no pain of any kind, and there are no anxieties. And so this is a symptom of this Brahmaloka. So then here, Prabhupada in the purport, he writes, we try to go to we try to be happy in this material world, which can never be, because this is a certified place of, suffering. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, this place is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So we cannot be happy, whatever the endeavor we put. So this is the point he is highlighting here. And, we make so many things, to reach to other planets. But finally, we cannot do anything, and we can never be happy in this material world. But yeah, we can be happy by taking to the process of devotional service and rendering devotional service to the Lord, because that is the highest occupation, duty of a jiva. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yatho bhaktir adokshaje. So whatever the other endeavors we put, it's just a srama eva hi kevalam. Just we are wasting our endeavors. That is what has been discussed in this thing. Next week we'll take up this verse number 28. Okay, we'll end up here. Just to summarize what we have learned today. So today we talked about like krama mukti or gradual liberation. Like, we talked about like Shat Chakra Yoga and liberation, and various stops before liberation. That is like a Vaishwanara Loka. Then finally he comes to the Brahma Loka. So this is the thing we have discussed. And yeah, so in short, this is what we have discussed. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any comments?
Hare Krishna. Actually, one small question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
All this which was been explained just now, it is related to the one person who leaves his body by using the yoga system, right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Then after, when he leaves this material world, how does how he transfers from one planet to another, and then he goes upward, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, correct.
But will it be different for the Vaishnavas? I just wanted to come to a conclusion, because the last thing was there was an plane which comes for him, and he sees the destruction of the other planets and everything. So just a thought came in my mind, where we see Santa Tukaram, he has a plane already coming onto this material world and taking him to the Vaishnava planet.
Vaikuntha planet.
Right. So I just a
Yeah.
thought came in that mind. So please, Prabhu, can you clarify?
Yes, this is basically for yogis who are not taken shelter of the Krishna. That they are depend on their process of yoga, the Ashtanga yoga and Ashtasiddhi yoga. They are endeavoring this, and they have to go through all these processes. Like, whereas for a devotee, Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, or before that he says ante kale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So we can compare this process even to the staircase, like yoga ladder. Like there's one staircase, other one is lift. So you can choose one of this. And also, like all these processes and all this thing is not applicable for a devotee, because devotee is engaged in devotional service, and he is engaged in the service of the Lord. So all these things is overlooked, and so he will, according to his consciousness and according to his surrender, he attains wherever he is destined. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also he says, right? Ye yata mam prapadyante. So if one is completely surrendered, then Krishna takes care of him completely. And if you have 50%, then Lord will take 50%. It depends, like proportionately. So hope this answers your query, Mataji.
Prabhu, this Satyaloka, after at the death of Brahma, I think it is also subject to annihilation.
Yeah. So in the next works, it comes, Prabhu. In the next two verses, it comes. From there, the yogis, they start moving to the higher planetary system again. Okay, which is explained in the next few verses. We were supposed to cover that today, but because of the time, I stopped here. Maybe next week we'll see that.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sorry, I know 1.5 hours is a bit too much, but otherwise Bhagavatam would be difficult to finish. But
Sure.
thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, Subal Prabhu, next week, instead of 29th verse, you put 28, because I covered today only up to 27.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank
Prabhu.
you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavvrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hi, Paul.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.